Back here on TYT Sports for a crucial game this weekend. It could hold more weight than it usually has done because Jose Mourinho has been tipped to take over the hot seat at Manchester United. It is a rumour that's been circulating since he departed Chelsea. Whether or not it will come to fruition, who knows? But it does pose that extra bit of weight on this already heated affair. So let's talk some tactics. So this is how I think Manchester United will line up. I would prefer, if I was a Man United fan, you guys know I have somewhat of an allegiance towards them, would prefer that Fellaini did not start, but this is Louis van Gaal after all. He likes to do everything that I don't want him to do. So I imagine that Fellaini and Carrick will play in the middle of the park. Darmian, Small and Blind and Jackson at the back. Lingard, Mata and Martial and Rooney up top. So I want to highlight that Jackson and Martial are going to be crucial in this game and isolating, I believe, the biggest weakness in Chelsea, which is Ivanovic. So let's take a look at how Manchester United can harm the Blues. So I'm going to highlight Manchester United's first goal against Stoke. Very well worked. What happens? Decoy runs, flood the flanks, take the pressure from the middle of the park and distribute it wide. This is going to be a game where it's going to become very flustered in the middle, especially if Chelsea play Mikel and Matic. Mikel and Matic's job is to basically patrol this area, make sure that Mata doesn't have any free space, so United are going to be forced to put the ball wide. What happened against Stoke, a team that's very similar in the middle of the park, they like to confide space, they like to frustrate teams. You throw forward someone like Borthwick Jackson. Intelligent runs because he knows Martial is going to cut inside. Jackson needs to get wide. That ball he put in for Lingard's goal is exactly, that is a striker's, a winger's, an attacking player's dream. With that in, that's just asking to be eaten. That is setting a steak up and just asking you to eat that medium to well done. That's how I prefer it. You might prefer it medium rare. But either way, put that ball into the box, allow someone to attack it because Ivanovic, for some reason, people are forgetting that this guy was torturous at the start of this season. Let's isolate him. Let's put Borthwick Jackson forward. I know previously I've said that United need to be a little bit cautious going forward to make sure they have adequate cover. This is a team that plays one striker, and they've got an out-of-form Hazard who seems to show some signs of rejuvenation, but not enough to make us leave 4 defenders back. Push Borthwick Jackson forward. Push an extra midfielder into that midfield to make them have to rethink about how many players are going to mark up, and that will allow for the space out wide. Because you know Martial, when he gets it, he's going to cut inside, and it's going to do 2 things. It's going to force Ivanovic to come with him, and he is horrible at defending on his left-hand side. I remember last season, Harry Kane used to isolate this for Ivanovic as well. It was very smart from Tottenham last season to do this. Manchester United need to do this. And what this will do is this will force Ivanovic to either check inside, or he'll follow this run of Borthwick, and then the whole defence will shift across. And Chelsea are not good at tracking back those wide men, whether it's Willian, whether it's Hazard. They're not naturally taught to defend. So as you see with Everton, Willian was caught out. Leighton Baines was the man that burst in behind and driven that ball across, which caused John Terry's own goal. So on the opposite side, I don't think Hazard's going to be much better, or Oscar at tracking back. If you put forward Darmian or you put forward Jesse Lingard, you get that weak side switch. Isolate those wide areas. I've touched about it before. Tactics isn't going to be something new every week because these teams in the Premier League show the same signs of weakness. Martial is gifted at coming in onto his right foot, taking a shot. It doesn't always finish, but look at that beautiful goal that Manchester United scored against Stoke. I think it was the second goal. Yes, it was Manchester United's best goal this season. Martial coming in on his right foot, attacking that weak side. Overwhelm that area. Borthwick, go forward, son. That's what I'd be telling him if I was Louis van Gaal. Whip those crosses in and let's see what happens. It's going to be a tough game because Chelsea, as we said, are undefeated with Guus Hiddink at the helm in the league. But it's still there for the taking. This is not the point in the season to worry. This is a point in the season to stand up to the plate and say, we are here to fight for top 4 and put the pressure on those top teams. So now that we looked at the Reds, let's look at the Blues. And it is Chelsea's standard lineup at this point. I think Guus Hiddink, one of the best things he has done since he came into that role is put Mikel and Matic, defensive midfielders, together, stabilised that partnership, which was a little rocky between Matic and Fabregas this season. So allowed Fabregas to push forward into a more attacking role, a lot more freedom in there to do the things that he does very well, picking those passes, threading the ball through the eye of the needle. That's what Fabregas does best. Courtois in goals, Ivanovic, Zuma, Terry and Azpilicueta. Willian, as I mentioned there, Mikel and Matic, but Willian, and it's either going to be Oscar or Hazard. There's talks that Hazard's going to come back into this game. Oscar had a great game, of course, against MK Dons, scoring the hat-trick. This, for me, is more of a game for Oscar to start and Hazard to come on. Oscar's going to have to do a lot of work to make sure to shut down whether it's Lingard on that right-hand side and make sure to provide defensive cover. He's better at doing that than Hazard, in my view. But one man I'm going to talk about in my tactical preview for Chelsea is Diego Costa. Against Arsenal, let me refresh your memory. Mertesacker sent off, crucial point in the game. Biggest moment, I would say, so far in Chelsea's season because it allowed them to push forward and win that London derby and rejuvenate the confidence in that Chelsea team. Why? Because Diego Costa is back to being his best in terms of his mobility. Very smart movement. The best movement in the Premier League last season. One of the best players, I would say, I've seen in Europe when he's on his day at moving in behind. And what he'll do, right? So in confiding this space, you're going to see Mikel and Matic patrol this area. Nothing else. They will patrol that area. If they win possession, break up United's play, their outlet is straight to Willian or straight to Fabregas. Why? Because what Diego Costa does, as soon as that ball has broken into that space, you'll see him play on that last man. Usually it'll play on the right defender, the right centre-back, because he likes to push off into that area and then burst from his left foot in behind. So he'll basically play like a man marker on the centre defender. As soon as he sees that ball picked up in there, he's making this run. This poses a question. In this case, it will be Smalling. Whether Smalling will go with Diego Costa, leaving this gap in here, or it will force the whole Manchester United line to step up and leave it susceptible to a run in behind, like what happened against Arsenal. What he'll do then, check into there, and it's really a decision that's made between Manchester United's defence, whether to step or stay, and then he'll make this burst and run in behind and spin in either in behind Chris Smalling, or he'll force them to cross paths, pose a problem between those two centre-backs. That is the main, I would say, objective of Diego Costa. And Smalling and Blind, they're like the little and large defensive partnership. Blind likes to sit a little bit deeper, read the game more. Smalling is a more hands-on, physical player. He's very fast. So I think for Chelsea, they want Diego Costa to continue to do this figure-of-8 movement. They want him to continue to check in, then spin back round and make this run in behind. Because in doing so, all good strikers are taught that figure-of-8. They're now going to pose a question to Smalling and Blind. Obviously, they want them to step up because Diego Costa's quick, so is Hazard, create that space in behind. Or if they drop deep, it allows them to push forward, pin Manchester United into the back line. Diego Costa, if he sticks to that mobility, it's going to be a win-win in terms of posing that question for Manchester United. Whether Chelsea will capitalise on it, who knows? As for my prediction, as you guys know, on TYT Sports, I like to give my prediction. I think it's going to be a bore draw, 1-1 though. 1 goal apiece. I would like to see more goals in this game. United a little bit more confident after that 3-0 win against Stoke. Chelsea frustrated with a 0-0 draw. There is goals there to be scored, but I think both teams will weigh each other out. Hiddink and Van Gaal, very tactically minded, I would say managers, are going to try and suss each other out. Might end in a 1-1. Let me know what you guys think. Comment section below. TYT Sports on Twitter. Francis_Maxwell on Twitter. Make sure to come back and subscribe.